Hey, it's Alex at Motoroso.com, your dedicated auto parts marketplace, and today we're in the studio for our installation guide video on the BC Racing BR Series coilover kit on our S550 Mustang build project. Now we've got a bunch of suspension upgrades coming after this coilover kit, including sway bars, end links, and bushings, so make sure you subscribe to the channel for all of our suspension chassis upgrades that are coming soon. Now this product is the E-32-BR and it works on all S550 Mustangs except the GT350 and the GT500. It'll set you back around $1,000 and it's available for purchase on Motoroso.com, where you can browse over 1 million top name brand products sold by trusted vendors at great prices, and the shipping is always free with no minimum. Let's get started. For tools, you're going to need a breaker bar, a ratchet, and sockets 13 through 21 millimeters, as well as a panel puller or a flathead screwdriver. Start by jacking up the car at the rear from the differential, put it on jack stands, and then remove the wheels. Remove the two 18mm upper mounting bolts on the shock. Remove the lower two 15mm bolts from the lower control arm and remove the shock. Place your jack under the differential to support the subframe. With the subframe supported, loosen the four 13mm bolts for the subframe support brackets. Remove the two 21mm subframe bolts and lower the subframe down with the jack at the differential to gain enough room to remove the coil spring. It might be nice to have a friend around to give you a hand pushing down on the subframe to remove the spring. Make sure to set up your new spring with the adjustment collar and rubber isolator. Have that friend press down on the subframe again and slide the new spring into the lower control arm spring bucket. Jack the subframe back into place. Reinstall the blue 21mm subframe bolts. Tighten up the four 13mm subframe support bracket bolts. Once fully in position, make sure to revisit those two 21mm subframe bolts to make sure they're fully tight. Remove the 15mm hold down bolt off the top of the shock and remove the top hat from the OEM shock. Install the damping control to the top of the shock and adjust to a good middle ground at 15 clicks. Make sure to zip tie the dust cover in place on the shock. Apply thread locker to the shock mounting bolts. Begin installing the new shock by reusing the OEM 15mm lower mounting bolts and 18mm upper mounting bolts. Now you're all done with the rear and you can reinstall your wheels, and let's move to the front. Jack up the car and place jack stands under each corner. Remove your front wheels. Now we recommend removing the brake caliper to gain clearance for the mounting bolts on the coilovers and the sway bar end links. Now as you can see, our Wilwood brake kit is different from OEM, but your bolts should be in the same place. With the brake caliper out of the way, you can remove the rotor to gain clear access to the coilover mounting points. With the open space, you can now begin removing the two 21mm nuts to free up the mounting bolts. Free the brake line from its mounting points, making sure to keep it out of the way. Undo the end link from the coilover using a 17mm socket and 17mm wrench. Tap the splined mounting bolts from the drop knuckle and remove the coilover from the drop knuckle. Remove the three 15mm upper mounting nuts and remove the coilover from your car. Prep the new coilover by making sure the lock collars are fully tight. With the coilover prepped, install it with the new supplied 17mm upper mounting nuts first, and once the coilover is hanging up in the wheel well, get it into position to mount it onto the drop knuckle. With the drop knuckle in position, put the OEM lower mounting bolts in place, thread the nuts on, and make sure to get them fully tight. With the coilover in place, install the new supplied end link using either two 18mm wrenches or 18mm wrench and 6mm Allen wrench to tighten them in place. Reinstall the brake line into its mounting points. Now you're all set and can reinstall your brake caliper and rotor. Again, ours is likely different from yours with our Wilwood big brake kit, but it should be very much the same process. reinstall your front wheels, and lower the car back down onto the ground, and you're all done. All right, that wraps up the installation of our BC Racing BR Series coilovers on our S550 Mustang build project. We've got some great suspension upgrades coming further. We've got white line sway bars and end links, as well as a bunch of white line bushing kits. So make sure you subscribe to the channel for those upcoming installation videos as well. And then we're gonna be sorting out the whole chassis and tuning the suspension and everything. Now, after you've installed your coilovers, you're gonna wanna look at your basic setup. So we're gonna do a separate video to show that basic setup. We're gonna show you how to set the damping controls, the ride height, and the spring preload. And make sure you subscribe to the channel for everything we do on our build coming up soon. Now, of course, this is the part number E-32-BR by BC Racing. It's gonna set you back around $1,000, and you can shop for that and over 1 million top name brand products sold by trusted vendors at great prices. And the shipping is always free with no minimum at Motoroso.com, your dedicated auto parts marketplace. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.